The saying goes, what you sow is what you reap, and for one woman, this truth played out in ways she never imagined. Raised in a typical household by her mother and father, this woman's early years were marked by the normality of school and childhood. But when she reached adulthood, the reality of her academic struggles hit her hard. She never excelled in school, unable to meet the standards for professions like teaching or nursing, the career paths many parents dream of for their children. At 19, she was sent for training, as was common when a child had not finished their education by 17. This was her chance to find a way forward, and so she went to a family friend's house to learn the trade of dressmaking. But life has a way of sending us down unexpected paths, and on a fateful day, this woman strayed far from the road to her future. Instead of walking the familiar route to her training, she found herself standing at the doorstep of a married man's house. How did she get there? The journey to this man's home was entirely out of her way, yet there she was. The question lingered. Why had she veered off her course? A mystery that remains unsolved. Her encounter with the man resulted in an unexpected pregnancy, and her dressmaking training came to a screeching halt. Devastated, her parents were left to care for their daughter as she navigated the challenges of motherhood. She could never bring herself to confess the truth of what had transpired. The shame was unbearable. The man, however, acknowledged paternity, and the child was registered under his name, a decision that would reverberate throughout the years. Imagine the anguish of the man's wife, who learned that her husband had fathered a child with another woman. Her world was torn apart as rumors spread like wildfire, and her family became the town's subject of gossip. But it was not just the wife who suffered. The woman who had borne the child was equally scrutinized, her life and reputation under constant judgment. For years, she lived under this cloud of scandal, staying with her parents while her child grew. But life took another unexpected turn. When the child was 2, desperate to escape the gossip and to prove to others that the intimacy with the man was forced and not mutually agreed, the woman entered into another relationship. This time with a single man. It was a way to silence the whispers about her past, a way to show that she was no longer tied to the married man who had fathered her first child. Yet, this too resulted in pregnancy, and the story grew more complicated. Her new partner, however, was not ready to claim the child. For reasons unknown, the man who had fathered the second child abandoned her, and the child was left nameless, without a father's surname. This was another crushing blow to the woman, who now had 2 children with no stable support from the man involved. The second man disappeared from her life, sent away to England by his parents, and left her to raise the child on her own. With 2 young children to care for, the woman relied heavily on her parents, farmers who struggled to make ends meet. Yet, despite difficulties, the father of her first child occasionally contributed, bringing food or animals for his daughter. He did this without his wife's knowledge, and while he did not take full responsibility, his efforts were appreciated. The woman raised her children with her parents' help, but the weight of her decisions continued to haunt her. As time went on, the woman's frustrations grew. The long walks to school with her daughter became unbearable, and when her daughter struggled in her first school, the mother decided to enroll her in a new one. This simple change led to a surprising revelation. The new teacher praised the child's writing skills, something the first school had never acknowledged. The mother was relieved, but this victory was short-lived. One fateful day, in a move that shocked her parents, the woman sold the goats her first child's father had given her. She had no use for them and no intention of keeping them for sentimental reasons. Her parents argued with her, but she was resolute. The money from the sale was to fund her escape. She was going to leave her parents' home and start anew, leaving her children behind. The next day, with a bag packed and the money from the goats in hand, the woman left. She did not say goodbye. The woman's departure left her parents and children behind. Her motivations were unclear. What lay ahead for her was uncertain, but one thing was for sure: her past actions had come full circle, and the consequences were far-reaching. Stay in touch for part 2 of this story. Like, subscribe and share for more.